I am Dr. K. Prabha, Associate Professor in Department of Chemistry. Today I am going to take a topic about hardness and its types and how it is removed. First of all of you know what is water. We are all know water is a universal solvent and it is very important for human life. So water is the most important compound that is essential for all human beings, which is found in oceans, rivers, ponds, lakes, glaciers. So in world, rainwater is considered as a purest form of water. Nowadays, due to pollutions and environmental degradation, the water gets polluted. So we have to remove that pollution. Before that, you should know what is water. So water can be classified into two types. One is hard water and another one is soft water. First one, soft water. What is soft water means? When it is reacted with soap, it forms lather. Lather means that is a formation of foam like a substance. So that is called soft water. This soft water can be used for domestical, agricultural, laundry and various industrial applications. The another form of water is hard water. The hard water means some amount of impurities which is present in water. What are all the impurities means? Some inorganic and organic substance, mainly inorganic substances like calcium and magnesium salt. So hard water means it does not forms any lather with soap. So its chemical equation is represented here. The sodium is nothing but soap is nothing but sodium salt of fatty acid, which is reacted with the hardness producing substance like calcium and magnesium. It is converted into calcium stearate and respective sodium chloride. This calcium stearate is prevent the formation of lather and it is formation of precipitate. In practical application, while we take bath in a seawater, we does not get any lather. Otherwise, we get a precipitate. That is due to the formation of calcium stearate. Next one, hardness. What does hardness means? The substance which is present in hard water is hardness. What are all the substance responsible for hardness is calcium and magnesium salts. The hardness can be classified into two types. One is temporary hardness and another one is permanent hardness. We will see one by one. First one, what is temporary hardness? Temporary hardness is due to the presence of calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonates in water. It can be easily removed by boiling. While boiling, the calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonates are converted into calcium carbonate. It is insoluble in water and it is precipitated and settled down the vessel. So that precipitate can be easily separated and we collect the pure water from filtration method or blow down operation method. Likewise, while we heating magnesium carbonate, we can get magnesium hydroxide, which is also get precipitated inside the vessel and we can separate it by blow down operation method. The next type of hardness is permanent hardness. It is due to the presence of chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium salt. These salts cannot be removed by boiling because it is soluble in water. So this type of permanent hardness producing substance can be removed by adding some chemical process. The chemical process like lime soda process, we can add some chemicals like lime soda. The permanent hardness producing substance can be reduced. Next one, what are all the disadvantages of hard water while we use it in domestical and industrial purpose? So in domestical purpose, the categories of laundering, bathing, dishwashing. In laundering, while we washing with hard water, we can use large amount of soap and the cloth material often gets into discoloration. For industrial purpose, in sugar industry, while we using hard water, the crystal formation of sugar is reduced. And then in concrete industry, the water containing calcium and magnesium salts reducing the concentrate concrete fixing with the cement material. And then in pharmaceutical industry, textile and dyeing industry, the pharmaceutical industry, while we using hard water, the components which is the chemical substance can be altered and the reactivity of the tablet or the syrup can be altered. And also in textile and dyeing industry, hard water forms a scale among the dye and it reduces the reactivity and affection of dye binding with the cloths. And in food industry, the modification of food can be modified, and it affects some adverse effect like indigestion, cough and headache can be caused. And then water boiler in steam, for steam production in boiler, it also can be affected by hot water. In general, while we intake large amount of hot water, it results in the formation of stones in kidney. So these are all the some disadvantages of hot water in industrial as well as the domestical applications. Next one, due to these disadvantages, we have to remove the hardness producing substance in hot water. How we can remove means by some methods. That method is soft water conditioning. The process of remove or reduce the hardness of water is called as water softening method. This can be done by two methods. One is internal conditioning and another one is external conditioning. What is meant by internal conditioning means the internal treatment is nothing but removal of hardness producing substance in water inside the boiler is called internal treatment. It can be done by some chemicals added inside the boiler. What are the conditioning means? Carbonate, phosphate, calgon and colloidal. The another form of removal of hardness in water by external treatment, that is removal of water before it enter into the boiler. Next we will see about one by one about the internal treatment removal process. First one is carbonate conditioning. In carbonate conditioning, we can use sodium carbonate inside the boiler to remove the hardness producing substance. It is used only in low pressure boilers. What are the chemical reaction which is taken place between the carbonate and hardness producing substance means this carbonate which is reacted with calcium sulfate to form calcium carbonate, which is settled down as a precipitate and we can easily remove by blow down operation method. The main disadvantage of this method is this method is only used in low pressure boilers, cannot be used in high pressure boiler. Why we cannot use it in high pressure boiler means in high pressure this sodium carbonate is converted into sodium hydroxide, which will leads to caustic embrittlement. That means the material, the boiler material becomes damaged. Next one is phosphate conditioning. In phosphate conditioning, we are using sodium phosphate as a chemical substance to remove the hardness producing substance. What are all the process involved here is sodium carbonate which is reacted with hardness producing substance like calcium sulfate or magnesium sulfate or calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate. It is converted into respective calcium phosphate. This calcium phosphate is also settled down easily and it can also separated by blow down operation method. In this method, it is used for high pressure boilers. So it is more advantageous than carbonate conditioning. So the one more beauty of this method is we can use so many phosphates. What are all the phosphate used here is sodium dihydrogen phosphate, so disodium hydrogen phosphate and sodium hydrogen phosphate. Based on the acidity and basicity of water, we can select these phosphates. If water is more acidic means we can use sodium phosphate which is alkaline in nature. It can neutralize the formation of acidic mediums. Next one, if the water is weak acidic means we can use weak alkaline material, that is disodium hydrogen phosphate. In case water is more basic means we can select the phosphate sodium dihydrogen phosphate which is alkaline in nature. Based on the pH of water, we can select this phosphate as a removal compound. What is the limitation of this phosphate conditioning means the equipment is costly and it is expensive. If more number of chemicals is present means it gets into turbid. While we comparing the previous method, that is carbonate and phosphate conditioning has more better advantages than carbonate. Why means we can use this phosphate conditioning for all kinds of water, whether it is acidic or maybe basic. In case of carbonate conditioning, we are not selecting the pH of water. Next, in phosphate conditioning, we can obtain zero hardness of water and also this method is very cheap and it is operative very easily. Next, another internal treatment is Calgon. Calgon is nothing but sodium hexametaphosphate. The commercial name is Calgon. The chemical name is sodium hexametaphosphate. While compared to carbonate and phosphate, Calgon is a more advantageous method because it forms an insoluble complex with hardness producing substance. In before methods, we can get precipitate. That precipitate can be easily removed by some method. But in the Calgon conditioning, we are not getting any precipitate because this Calgon forms soluble metal complex with hardness producing substance. The chemical reaction takes place in this method is depicted here, and it is more better method when compared to that of Calgon, phosphate and carbonate. Next one is colloidal conditioning. Colloidal conditioning means certain organic substances like kerosene, tannin can be used to remove the hardness producing substance to prevent the formation of scale. Thank you.